Hello, my name is Fox and you're watching Den of Fools. Let's jump right in. In week 13 of 2024 we had 98 tournaments with a total of 1,702 players and 5,965 games played. We were a little late on the video this week as Fearless went for a short holiday. It was not such a massive week this time out, so he was able to get the data sorted reasonably quickly after returning. With that said, this week the Space Marines topped the charts with 17 wins and 59 top 3 placings. Their weighted placing is 19.3, which is a fair bit better than the 23.6 they got last time. They have managed to stay in first despite the reduction in tournaments, and they've improved their weighted placing. This suggests they are not at the top simply due to their popularity. The Necrons are back in second with 11 wins, 30 top 3 placings, and a weighted placing of 12.5. This is a slight return to form compared to the weighted placing of 19 they got last time. The Orcs are the last faction in blue, with 8 wins and a weighted placing of 10.1, the best overall. They have a very good week this time around with a weighted placing over twice as good as the 25.5 they got last week. The Custodians have been knocked into green, only getting 6 wins with a weighted placing of 18.5. Their weighted placing is significantly higher, which is to be expected when they get far less wins. The Grey Knights come next with 5 wins, 11 top 3 placings and a weighted placing of 13.8. They have been performing significantly better since the last balance update. The Imperial Knights come next, also getting 5 wins, with 1 less top 3 placing. They get a weighted placing of 10.2, which is the second best this week. This is a good result for them, although it is only 1 more win than last time. All of the remaining factions in green get 4 wins, being ranked by the number of top 3 placings. Guard are still performing well despite a slightly higher weighted placing of 23.5. We have shown what units can do well for Guard in some of our recent tournament spotlights. Chaos Demons improve on last time with a weighted placing of 13.3 compared to 19.4. The Sisters have a very similar result to last week, with a weighted placing of 12.3. Drukhari improved significantly on the 39.5 they got last week, with 10.8 this time out. This is the third best weighted placing, and is a good example of how only a few more wins can make a big difference for a faction which doesn't have that many players. Chaos Knights come next with 7 top 3s and a weighted placing of 14. This is a good result for them, but they are the only faction in green which doesn't get any results at the larger tournaments. The Votan are the last faction in green, with 6 top 3s and a weighted placing of 12. There are a lot more factions in yellow this time around, with the Tyranids topping the group with 3 wins and a weighted placing of 29.7. The Tau have dropped back from their good performance in recent weeks, with 3 wins and a weighted placing of 21.3. Likewise, the Thousand Sons have struggled this week, only getting 2 wins with a weighted placing of 31.5. The Death Guard have a particularly rough week with 1 win and a weighted placing of 86, despite their 12 top 3 placings. Chaos Space Marines are still struggling with a single win and a weighted placing of 68. The Gene Stealers are at the bottom, with 1 win and a weighted placing of 14, which shows just how few players they had this week. 22 factions managed at least 1 top 10 placing, with the Space Marines getting the most top 10s with 179. The Custodians are in second with 75 top 10 placings, followed by Necrons in third on 74 top 10 placings. This week Custodians take second from the Necrons, but only by a single top 10, while the Space Marines are in front by over 100 top 10 placings. Unsurprisingly, the Space Marines are the most played faction with 19.27% of all players taking them. Necrons are the second most popular on 8.11%, followed by Custodians in third on 6.52%. It takes our resident stats guru and Ultramarine fanboy Fearless Fox many hours to collect all the data. It would be great if you could show your appreciation by liking and sharing the video. It really helps us with the God algorithm of YouTube. We have grouped the win rates by colour, with the key at the bottom of the screen. This week the Gene Stealers topped the charts with a win rate of 57.8%. I wouldn't read too much into it as they only had 14 players. Chaos Demons do perform rather well with a win rate of 55.1% from a much larger player base of 53. Custodians are the first faction in the Goldilocks zone with a win rate of 53.9%. Necrons are close behind with a win rate of 53.4%. They have dropped back a little bit, and the result does explain how the Custodians have managed to get 1 more top 10 despite being significantly less popular. Perhaps they have also dropped back a little bit as players are tailoring their list to combat Necrons, which may explain why they haven't been at the very top over the past few weeks. Having said that, they are still performing very well at the moment. Sisters are very close behind with a win rate of 53.3%, which caps off a good week for them. Chaos Knights get a win rate of 52.9%, with the Eldari on a win rate of 52.1%. Their dark cousins, the Drukhari, get a win rate of 51.5%. The Grey Knights are the last faction in green, with a win rate of 50.6%. The majority of factions are in yellow this week, with the Imperial Knights and Votan topping the group with win rates of 49.7%. The Space Marines have a better week than usual, with a win rate of 49.2%. Stay tuned until later on in the video to see how the individual chapters perform. The World Eaters get a win rate of 47.9%, with the Death Guard on a win rate of 47.2%. The Thousand Suns round out a rough week for the Chaos Legions with their own indexes, with a win rate of 46.2%. This is an especially rough result for the Thousand Suns, who have been performing well recently. Guard come next with a win rate of 45.6%, despite doing well in terms of tournament placings. The Orcs just get in the Goldilocks zone, with a win rate of 45.1%, despite getting the best weighted placing this week. We see similar factions below the zone, with Admech on 44.9%. Chaos Space Marines and surprisingly Tower on a win rate of 44.7%, with Tyranids at the bottom with a win rate of 42.8%. The Necrons remain at the top of the running total with a win rate of 55.7%, although they are starting to drop down ever so slightly. The Custodians are just in the Goldilocks zone with a win rate of 54.6%. The Thousand Suns remain in third place with 52.9%, which shows how rough a week they had this time. The Grey Knights are on a win rate of 51.6%, with Chaos Demons slightly improving on 51.3%. Sisters and Imperial Knights have a win rate of 51.1% and 50.8% respectively. The Drukhari are the last faction in green with a win rate of 50.3%. The majority of factions are in yellow, with Tau joining the group on a win rate of 49.8%. Only two factions are below the Goldilocks zone, after specimens have just got to 45%. Admech are still struggling on a win rate of 43%, with Chaos Space Marines firmly at the bottom with a win rate of 42%. As the chapter ahead only has a single player, this week the Space Wolves top the charts with a win rate of 58.3%. This is a good improvement on last time, and puts them top of the charts as a full faction. This is a great result for them and Space Marines in general, who have been struggling a little bit recently. The second most popular chapters of the Black Templars are just in the Goldilocks zone, with an impressive win rate of 55%. The Death Watch get a win rate of 53.6%, with the Iron Hands on a win rate of 53.3%. The third most popular chapter, the Blood Angels, are the last faction in green, with a win rate of 52.5%. The Salamanders and Ultramarines both managed to get in the Goldilocks zone, with a win rate of 45.3%. The White Scars are on a win rate of 44.4%, followed by the most popular chapter, the Dark Angels, on a win rate of 41.4%, which is lower than last week. They are below the Goldilocks zone, but at least they are performing slightly better than their initial win rate when their codex released. The Raven Guard just get in yellow, with a win rate of 40%. The Imperial Fists are the only chapter in red with more than a single player. They're on a win rate of 27.3%. Overall, the Space Marines are performing a lot better than in recent weeks, especially the Space Wolves, Templars, and Blood Angels. As is usual, the Divergent chapters outperform the rest, as they have simply more options to choose from. The Black Templars remain at the top of the running totals with a win rate of 51.2%. The Space Wolves come next with a win rate of 49.8%. Noticeably, their rolling 4-week win rate is a lot higher on 52.1%. The Blood Angels improved their position in the Goldilocks zone with a win rate of 45.9%. Like the Space Wolves, their 4-week rolling is significantly higher on 49.6%. The Death Watch are on 43.9%, with the Dark Angels dropping below them on a win rate of 43.2%. They are starting to drop down the rankings after multiple rough weeks since their codex released. Salamanders get a win rate of 42.8%, with Phyllis's favourite blue boys, the Ultramarines, on a win rate of 42.3%. The Iron Hounds are the last chapter in yellow, with a win rate of 41.3%. The Imperial Fists are on a win rate of 34.3%, with the White Scars on 33.3%, and the Raven Guard on 29.7% win rate. As we only have a few known sub-factors in the weekly, we will focus on the win rate since the date slate. The Iron Warriors top the win rate with 47.2%, and are the only warband in the Goldilocks zone. The Word Bearers are on a win rate of 43.4%, with the Emperor's Children on 43.2%. The most popular warband, the Black Legion, are on a win rate of 42.2%. The Alpha Legion is just behind with a win rate of 41.9%. The Night Lords are the last warband with a decent number of players. They are on a win rate of 37%. The fact that all but one of the warbands are below the Goldilocks zone shows how much Chaos Space Marines are struggling at the moment. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe, check out one of the videos on screen, and consider using our affiliate links in the description. Thank you for watching.